I've had the Weber Workshop's EG-1 coffee grinder for a little bit over a year, and I've been using it on a daily basis, and I'm finally ready to share with you guys my official thoughts on whether or not I think that the Weber EG-1 is worth that $4,000 or $4,500 price tag. The Weber Workshop's EG-1 is known as the flagship, the pinnacle, the end game espresso pour over grinder that one can buy for their home. This thing is so intense, it's actually commercial rated. This thing looks like it was designed by NASA for espresso. And a lot of people wonder, is it actually worth it? Are you missing out on coffee when you're not using the incredible grinder of the Weber Workshop's EG-1? Should you save your money and buy something like a DF83 by Turin Grinders or a DF64? Is it really worth spending 90% more to get this grinder? Hopefully this video will kind of help you understand whether or not that's actually worth it and whether or not you should buy this grinder. So first off, I want to talk about the build quality of this thing. This thing is absolutely top tier. If you didn't know, Weber Workshop started by this guy named Douglas Weber. Douglas Weber is known for working at Apple. He helped design the iPod. So when you think of Apple's kind of build quality on an iPhone or iPod, everything just seems perfect. Everything seems great. Everything is really thought through on it. And the same thing happens when it comes to any of Weber products. This thing has precision everywhere. It matches everywhere. The finish is great on it. There's magnets everywhere. The blind shaker attaches by magnets. The lid on the blind shaker is magnets. The brew head, sorry, not the brew head. The grinder burrs are attached magnetically. There is like a housing for the burrs that has magnets to get in and out of it. It is built top tier, and it is really, really great when it comes to the quality that it feels rock solid. It looks like rock solid. Like when you touch this thing, you're touching something that's premium. You're using something that's premium and so well built, and you're expecting the quality of your cup to be just as good when you get it. This thing is built to last forever and to go anywhere you want to in your coffee journey. There's two sets of burrs that you can get for it. The standard ones that it come with, the core burrs or the ultra burrs, and I believe I can't remember if I'm getting this right. The ultra burrs are kind of meant for the more pour over version, and the core burrs are meant for espresso but can be hybrid. I haven't used the ultra burrs a ton. I don't do a ton of pour overs as I'm drinking a pour over now. It's a little crazy. Regardless, typically I just stuck with the core burrs and just used it for everything because I don't brew a lot of pour overs. So I want to talk about the workflow of it. So a couple things change versus like a single dose and grinder. You're not grinding directly into the portafilter anymore. How you can grab a portafilter attachment for it. You are grinding into the blind shaker. If you've seen that video by Lance Hendricks, some people really love it and praise it because you can put a lid on it, shake it up, and it distributes everything perfectly. And then you pull out the little plug on the inside and it grinds and it goes directly into your portafilter. I personally think it takes a little bit more time, but it is what it is. One of the things that I've noticed the most about this is I have the Gen 2 version of this. There's now a Gen 3 or Mark 3 of it. Mine basically doesn't have the purge thing where it spins the burrs backwards, and there's some screw differences. There's not much changing. The performance is the same. And one of the things I noticed particularly about this grinder is it is incredibly messy when it comes to brewing. There's so many crevices on the inside of it that's kind of on the outside of it that collects dust that it's hard to really kind of clean it in my coffee bar because I had it crammed in between two espresso machines. You need to use RDT, and what RDT is basically when you spray the coffee beans with a spritz of water, start the grinder, wait for it to get up to speed, and then pour the grinders into the hopper or the chute, I guess would be the best way to call it. That helps minimize a ton of the RDT or minimize a ton of the mess, but it doesn't take it out fully, which I find kind of annoying because there's a lot of grinders now that have the plasma generators, and I have an espresso machine right now that's $1,300. It has a built-in grinder, and that thing is so clean every single time I grind out of it versus I feel like I often had to clean up after the Weber Workshop's EG-1. Adding that tiny mist of water, though, does dramatically help with it, and I highly recommend it. You need to do that for it, and luckily it does come with a bottle, a water bottle, spray bottle for that, so that helps out a ton. So I'm gonna now get to the part that everybody's probably waiting for, and is it actually that good? Now, when you drink coffee, are you really getting the best quality of coffee out there? Is this really worth the $4,000 for the silver, or $4,500 for the onyx or black color? And honestly, yes, it is. I feel like as good as it gets when it comes to the quality of coffee. I haven't tried every single grinder out there. I have owned one K30 by Malkonig. I've used the DF83. I've used a lot of Turin grinders. I have a Eureka Atom 75. I've used a lot of grinders, is what I'm saying. And I felt like it was noticeably better, and you noticeably got more when it came, more flavor when you got out of it. The EG-1 produces a very uniform particle distribution throughout it. There's very minimal fines. The clarity on the cup is outstanding and will surpass anything I've ever used, including some of the DF64 with SSP burrs. The espresso is sweet, it's layered, it's balanced, it's really, really everything you want. When you see those like little nuances of tasting notes on bags of coffee, you can really see those and taste those in the cup more so than any other grinder that I've had. It's the kind of grinder that makes you feel like you've upgraded everything. I paired that with a $150 espresso machine. I was getting better shots out of that espresso machine with with the EG-1 than I was with the DF64 and a $3,000, $3,500 Rocket R58. It's really, really that good. Like, by far, it beats out every single grinder, and you can taste the difference. At least I could. If you're not really into picking that up, I think this is going to be a huge step. But if you really want to get the most out of your coffee beans, you're not going to go wrong with this. It feels great to use. It's huge. It takes up a lot of space, but it's so well built, and you really do get the best results out of it. However, I do hate how much space it takes up, and I do kind of dislike the messiness. Really genuinely extracts just more nuances of the coffee and more sweetness out of the beans, and honestly, it's been really, really good and really, really enjoyable, especially getting some high-end coffees. I buy an advent calendar for high-quality coffees every single year, and having this grinder for that is just so good and so nice. It's really easy to change in between different beans and stuff like that. The stepped adjustment mechanism is really nice. It has 5 microns in between. So how does it compare into the DF64 or the DF64V or the CF64V? So in other words, how does it compare to 64 millimeter coffee burrs in something like a Turin grinder or the DF83? Those are the ones that I've traditionally compared it to, and honestly, it is better. You can notice the difference of it, but here's the problem that I've had, and honestly, I recently just sold my EG-1 a couple months ago, so that's why you're not seeing any B-rolls, because I can't film the B-roll because I don't have the grinder anymore. The reason for that is because I felt like I could get 80 to 90%, probably closer to the 90% quality in my cup coming from the CF64V or those 64 grinders than I could with the EG-1. I didn't think that it was really worth, like if you want the best of the best, hands down, this is the best of the best, and it is a noticeable difference, but I don't think the return on the investment is really there. I think if you're the type of person who has the money, who wants to get the best coffee that you possibly can get, hands down would steer you toward this. If you're looking for a really, really good cup of coffee, you don't need to spend $4,000 because you can spend $400 on a DF64 and get really, really good clarity. But if you want that last 5%, 10% of clarity, you're going to get it here. And you're kind of diminishing returns at that point. That's a lot of money, spending an extra $3,500 to get an extra 5 to 10% of cup quality. But that's kind of what you get when you get to the high end type of stuff. It is worth it, but there is some drawbacks when it comes to it. And I just personally thought it was more important for me to have the money of the Weber Workshop's EG-1 because I had to fund some other things, which more on that in a coming video. And I'm going to share a little bit about what this channel has done for me and the benefit that comes along with it. But I found that I could find my contentment well enough in a different grinder that I didn't need to have a $4,000 grinder. Now, granted, the grinder that I did switch to and I use on a daily basis, including brewing this cup, it's not a Turin grinder and it's not a $500 grinder. But more on that on a later video. So basically, kind of who's the EG-1 for? It's for the person who wants everything out of their coffee. It's for the person who wants the end-all grinder that will deliver. It's the person who really wants every single nuance. It's the coffee perfectionist. It's the person who values design, values workflow, values craftsmanship as well as taste. It's like, honestly, even though there is some kind of mess with it with out RDTing and even with RDTing, it's still something that's so enjoyable to use, to flip up the grind dial indicator to adjust it and have it click into place, to slide the bean shaker into the wooden platform and it snaps through a magnet. All of it is just really, really nice to use and really, really pleasing to use. It's something that you really enjoy. And if that's something you're after and you want the best taste along with it, go for it. If you don't have a lot of money, if you have other priorities in life, you're going to get pretty close with $500. You're not going to get quite there, but you're going to get some pretty good results at just a fraction of the cost, at 10% of the cost, by buying a DF64 or a DF83. And honestly, I think you could be pretty happy with it in the long run. But if you want to chase that end game and that 5%, that 10% difference, look no further. At the end of the day, the Weber Workshop's EG-1 is really, really incredible. It's a piece of functional art that looks good, but comes with a price. It's beautiful, it's overbuilt, it's only marginally better in the cup, but it's a joy to use, and it's a joy to taste the coffee from it. So I want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions about the Weber Workshop's EG-1, if you agree with me on this, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I bought my EG-1 used for like $3,200. I paid a pretty penny for it to make this review, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I would love to hear if you've actually tried a premium grinder or something similar to the EG-1, and whether you think it's actually worth that upgrade for it. But whether you're on a bunch of forums or Reddit or Facebook groups about coffee, just know that the stations and coffee stations that you use, they might have a prettier price tag, they might look more beautiful, but honestly, I believe the quality can get pretty darn close in a much, much cheaper setup. So make sure to remember that whatever gear you have at home, make it to the best of what you can be. You don't need to chase the end game. I've had it. It's great. It's phenomenal. But honestly, I feel almost just as content having a substantial step down from what I used to have. But like I said, more on that at a later video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below.